Hello friends, my name is Olga, I am Ukrainian and I am a mature medical student in my country. And in this video I want to answer the most googled questions about Ukraine, which starts from the when, where, why, how. Okay, where Ukraine buys gas. As I remember, Ukraine buys gas like in Europe or something. It's like a reverse pipes stream, yeah, reverse stream. So Europe buys gas everywhere, and then just Ukraine takes these parts from that. Where is Ukraine situated? Uh, I think you should just watch the map. I think the Eastern Europe, yeah, near Black Sea. You can find the Black Sea, and then you can find Ukraine. I think the northern part of Black Sea. Where Ukraine is located? Yeah, eastern borders of European Union and Black Sea. Once again, where Ukraine gets gas, where Ukraine is on the world map, where Ukraine exports wheat. Yeah, it's where it's the similar question. It's not interesting. I think it's because it's all the same. Why Ukraine is poor? Well, it's very, yeah, I also think why Ukraine is poor. Because we have so rich country and big country, and Ukrainians should not be poor. I think because of corruption. Actually, Ukraine is not that poor as you think. Just not all Ukrainians are rich. Some Ukrainians are very rich, some Ukrainians quite rich, and essential part of Ukrainians are poor. But I think that despite corruption in Ukraine, there are opportunities in Ukraine also, and people who really want to gain money, they have the opportunities to gain money. And the problem is that I think that we just have to, I think with the help of some international countries, because inside of Ukraine, I think that most of Ukrainians will tell you that just someone have to help us to regulate our justice system, to change our court, to change this branch, you know, the legislative and branch of the justice in society, yeah, and to make strict laws and to how to say, to make people follow these laws, because we have laws but not all want to follow them, and sometimes Ukraine looks like a wild west of USA, you know, in the 19th century. But I don't think that Ukraine is poor everywhere. Yeah, some branches, some people are poor, and to make all people be like medium level, to live approximately, you know, more or less the same, enough good. That's what we have to do, just to fight with corruption, to make such a law, and to make people who are responsible at least for something in country to follow these laws. Ukraine needs to fight with corruption and to make it rich country. I think that a lot of Ukrainians think the same, because it will be always like we have, you know, this always Maidans, always this social different explosions, like meetings, like protestings. That's what because of unfair justice, unfair laws, and people who do not want to follow laws. Yeah, that's the problem. Why Ukraine is not in NATO? Because Ukraine wanted to be in NATO since 2010, but Russia didn't want to see Ukraine in NATO, and Russia did everything internationally to do not let Ukraine be a member of NATO alliance. And now Ukraine wants even more to be in NATO, but we have a war, and the country who has opened conflicts on its territory cannot be the member yet, officially the member of the NATO. Why Ukraine is unique? This a very strange question, because I think every country is unique, every nation is unique. We have different countries because each country is unique and each nation is unique. I don't know, maybe you should watch this part of my video when I told you what Ukraine is famous about. It's why Ukraine is unique. Maybe this question is because why we should help Ukraine or something. But how to say, I think this if in such a light to watch on this question why we should help Ukraine, I think because if Ukraine will fall, Russia will not stop, and a lot of such signs we see in Russia that they said that we shouldn't stop in the Ukrainian borders, we should go to the Poland, we should make to be Germany divided as it was, before, when they have Western and Eastern Germany divided by the wall, when the Czech Republic and Slovakia also were controlled much, and Bulgaria and Balkanian countries had such an essential influence of USSR. That's what Russians want to restore, and I think if the other countries let them to go even further, they will go for it. So I think that's why Ukraine should stop Russia, because not just Ukraine is an object, of conquesting of Russians, of Putin for this day. Why Ukraine lost Crimea? I think that because Putin, he planned to do it a long time ago, and he just used the situation of Maidan when the Ukraine lost the president escaped. We have some kind of, this social roaming. We had no president. We have like temporary leaders. Was no strong leader enough, and just Putin used the situation and captured Crimea. Just he said first time he said that there is no any Russian soldiers on the Crimea, but he lied, and for a week they said that Crimea will be the part of Russia. So he just tricked and used the situation, what happened in Ukraine that time. Why Ukraine is important to the world? I think I already answered you on that, why Ukraine is unique. Why Ukraine should join European Union? I think also because Ukraine fights for European Union now, for Germany, that Russia dreamed to divide on Western and Eastern, and the Germany is the key country of European economics, I think, because Russia wants to control Czech Republic, Slovakia, Poland, and other countries. They influenced in 20th century. So Ukraine now fights for the life European Union have now, and I think it's very fair that Ukrainians should be joined European Union, because actually they did this choice, and they even pay by their life to be stay away from Russia and to be with European Union and to establish European values, because all this Maidans, all this like revolution of dignity, orange revolution, that's what Ukrainian society fighted for democratic, fair, legislative, how to say, fair justice society with working laws, with freedoms. That's what is important for Europe, for European Union, and this is values Ukrainians fighting for. So why they shouldn't join the European Union? I think it's very great reason. Why Ukraine and not the Ukraine? Oh wow, it's like a grammatical question. I'm not good, I think, in this. I'm not that good in English, but it seems like countries, they usually say, for example, we just saying just Italy. We do not say the Italy, yeah, because the Italy, it will be like not very honorable as for me. Or for example, we have just Poland or Romania or I don't know, Great Britain. That's why Ukraine also the country, the same without this article the Ukraine. I think Ukraine should be, it's okay. Why Ukraine is winning the war? It's okay, it's how to say, the expression, we cannot say we are winning because the Russians still on our territory, but at least Ukrainians stop them. And yeah, Ukraine is fight with a dignity, with such a mighty enemy. Why? I think that because Ukrainians very motivated, Ukrainians had this background, revolution of dignity, Orange Revolution, and it's so deep processes in Ukrainian society. Ukrainians, they changed a lot inside the interaction inside of society. I think even the people who stayed in some how to say, who are top manager or just manager in Ukrainian states, they even more old-fashioned than society. And that's why all this revolution happened, because people want to make them leave and to see their new blood, new leaders who will provide the will and real needs of the people, of Ukrainian people. And this was the background why Ukrainians are so brave, why Ukrainians also are so sure that they should win. They do not have any choice. And if some person applies a lot of effort to find the means to get something, to win, to reach some goal, if this person do not have means, do not have enough power, but have something inside, the very big will, she or he will find the means, he will find partners, he will find people, someone or something that will let her or him win. So that's what happens with Ukrainian society. Ukrainians just do not imagine how they can lose. They should win. So the will, that the really very strong will, is what makes Ukrainians fight, makes Ukrainians search for means, for weapons, for contacts, for partners, for anything they could apply to reach their goal. So it's like this. Imagine that you have a dream to enter medical university, I don't know, in some top level university, and you just study 24 hours as an abnormal someone to reach this. That's what Ukrainians do to win this war. They have a dream to make Russia leave Ukrainian society, Ukrainian culture, because our society is too different for now. That's why Ukrainian winning this war at least do not let Russians to be so successful as other thought. And also Ukrainians learning very fast. They have a lot of new kinds of weapon. They learn how to use it. And Russia, they also learn, but after Ukraine, they learn watching on Ukrainians after. And Russia in general, they apply the methods of the USSR army of the Second World War, and actually they nothing changed almost in the army, because they thought that the army is so powerful and they do not need nothing new, nothing. They will win on sure. So why they should develop the army? But Ukrainians do it, and that's why they successful. Okay, how Ukraine got Crimea? As I remember, Ukraine got Crimea in 1954, when the head of USSR decided to give Crimea to Ukraine, because Ukraine lost its territories while before, how to say, at the beginning of the 20th century, when USSR appeared. For example, Voronezh city and Bryansk and some parts of northern Ukraine, some parts of Russian territories that are now Russians, they were Ukrainian territories, and there people still speaking some kind of Ukrainian language. Of course, less and less, and maybe now in cities people speaking mostly Russian, but in villages on the territory of Voronezh and Bryansk region and some other regions near Ukraine, people speak mostly in the villages with a lot of different Ukrainian words, and they have sometimes second names, surnames Ukrainian, like not Russian, and that's why Russian SSR gave Crimea to Ukraine instead of these regions. They didn't want to return, and the reason was because Crimea was at the time quite depressed territory, because in Crimea lack of fresh water. It is a half island, like peninsula, and there is not much rivers. And at that time was great like mechanization of agricultural branch, and they built some water channels, and the water channel from the Dnipro River built to fill from the Ukrainian territory, to fill Crimea, to get to Crimea fresh water. And Crimea were quite dependent on Ukraine because of water, because of that only, because only from Ukraine were two roads on the territory of Crimea. So it was connected with a big land only in where was Ukraine, and economically it was more correct to join Crimea to Ukraine, to make it this territory more developed, to make their develop industry on this territory, agriculture and other branches, because for people they could live on the territory of Crimea, but Crimea was not developed region. So that's why Ukraine got Crimea. How Ukraine celebrates Christmas? We celebrating Christmas 2 times because I don't know how to explain it. Traditionally in Ukraine we have Christmas from the 6th to 7th of January, and people usually celebrate it after New Year. A lot of people were unpleased because of this, because if you are religious, you have to not eat some products for some, days before Christmas, and when you have New Year, you suffer because you shouldn't eat meat or something. And now we have Christmas also 25th of December, but a lot of people, they had this tradition, they used to, so they also celebrated maybe more at 7th of January still. But yeah, we just like have a, two Christmases for all who wants to celebrate it when they want. How Ukraine was able to survive? You mean in the beginning of the war? I think because Ukraine, beginning of the 2022nd year, because we already have this war for 8 years. It started from when the Crimea and the parts of Donbass region captured, and there were constant military fights. And I think that our how to say, spies of Ukrainian how to say, military department, they got this information about the war, and so our army were prepared. And because they have also military experience from the Donbass region, from that for that Ukrainian army gained for all these 8 years. That's why we survived. And then else, why? That because Ukrainians want very much to be independent from Russia and have no any influence. So this will, this wish, this experience and information that this war will be all together, make Ukrainians to be prepared and to fight as alliance, and to make Russians step back near Kiev at least. How Ukraine was formed? I don't know what you mean. How Ukraine was formed? I cannot answer on this question because I don't know about what kind of period you are talking about in the history. But on the territory of Ukraine always lived Ukrainians, and even for some periods when Ukraine were divided, these Ukrainians, they always fighting to be for a union, for to be together in the big Ukraine. By the way, we also have the Qwhy included in Russian region, where also a lot of Ukrainians live still, and most of them came from the Poltava region there. So not even all ethnically Ukrainian lands are, include Ukraine nowadays borders. Sometimes Ukrainians joke that they will take Qwhy, but on the other hand, the propaganda did with this region what they did from the rest of Russia, and so it's how to say, the big reason to not fight for Qwhy, because it will be the headache for Ukraine if if we will get it. And I think it's more like a joke, of course, because Ukrainians just want to return the official lands and do not make these wars for, to change the borders as it was in the medieval times. How Ukraine will win the war? I don't know how. Maybe as I remember, our experts say that we should just first of all capture Kherson region, then capture Crimea, because it's very vulnerable, because it's peninsula, and Russians will be trapped inside of this Crimea. Then we should free the north of Luhansk region and cut all the railways, roads, highways to Donbass from the north, and to also to free Donbass. A lot of experts say that to return Crimea it's much more easier than Donbass, because Donbass has the border with Russia, a lot of developed net of railways, highways, roads, and they may deliver the shells, missiles, so to return it will be harder, and we should do it. It's like as a last step. But Crimea is quite vulnerable and we can return it fastly. When Ukraine was founded, when Ukraine was founded, when if we are talking about the modern image of Ukrainian state, I think we can say about the beginning of the 20th century, because the beginning of the 20th century, when the Ukrainian People's Republic appeared, it was like the first and also the first president of modern type Ukraine in that period was Mikhailo Hrushevsky. I could give you such kind of answer. When Ukrainian war will end? I hope that it will be in 2023 year, but some people that attend in the front line that say that this war will be longer than 1 year. Different opinions. Someone said in 2023 year, someone said that it will be longer. When Ukraine appeared, okay, I already answered you on this question. Ukraine as a name appeared, like this word appeared long time ago, but then after Kievan Rus stopped to exist on the lands of Ukraine, was a lot of different countries. Usually Ukrainian modern lands, they were autonomous republics. They never was integrated in that countries they controlled by. They were usually partially independent, because I think that Ukrainian nation and culture is too strong to be integrated, and this country hadn't much opportunities. Maybe they wanted, but they didn't do it. Ukraine in the modern borders, in the modern meaning, appeared, yes, on the beginning of 20th century. Mikhailo Hrushevsky, and before him the Skoropadsky, who was on the head of Ukrainian People's Republic that time. When Ukraine was born, when Ukraine will be in European Union, I don't know. I hope it will be as soon as possible, because Ukraine have all rights and all reasons to be in European member. Ukraine fights for this and gives lives of Ukrainians. When Ukraine was found, when Ukraine will win the war, when Ukraine exists. When Ukraine exists, I don't know what it means. Okay, thank you for watching. It's very thankful to you that you watched this huge, very long video, and even listened to my unprofessional, ordinary, simple answers. See you in the next video. If you like this video, maybe you will